I think sometimes she's mad. I think in this case she was mad and annoyed, but it's good because it fuels her. Look at her face. Look how concentrated she is. Then Hande, and then Hande, and then a block. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode. This time I would love to talk about the Olympics qualifiers for women's volleyball. There would be so much to talk about. There were 7 games per team. That's really a lot with 24 teams. I would love to focus on 2 in particular. The first being Türkiye against Japan and the second Netherlands against the Dominican Republic. So why don't we start out with our beloved Türkiye. They had a spectacular tournament once again after the VNL and after the European Championship. So they're no longer underdogs for sure. They are the team that's ranked the first in the world. They come into this match against Japan, against a Japanese team that hasn't lost one set. How do they perform? Well, Türkiye is the world number 1 team, but they're still a team from Earth. They're not a team from another planet. They get challenged. They got challenged even by Czech Republic. They got challenged by Belgium. And I have to say, in general, the level of international volleyball right now is really, really sky high. And we're talking about a team, Japan, that's ranked 6th against the first team. And Japan was able to come in, and especially in the first set, they put Turkey in such a position where they had to make changes immediately. They had to take out Ebrar Karakurt and the setter Elif Şahin. They had to let Turkey figure it out for themselves because they were down bad. With Japan in the driver's seat, with hitters like Hayashi, she's 173 centimeter. It's a really short height for a spiker of that level. And she was able to get through the block of Hande and Eda. And we have, of course, Sarina Koga, very capable of hitting on the block and out. And overall, incredible defense from all of them. They made Melissa Vargas look like a regular player. They were in control of the first set, all the way up to the 20 points, where Türkiye managed to get back into the match. Hande was on fire the whole match. Really, really, really glad to see her like this. Hande and Eda had this fire and coolness about themselves where they, in a certain sense, kept carrying the team. So Eda goes to serve, they manage to stretch it in the 20s, but Japan does take the first set. We get back into the court. Again, Ebrar starts out the set, but it doesn't last long. She seems not to be having a great day today, so İlkin comes in to help. And that was an inspired substitution that continued throughout the match. Yeah, the match starts out pretty evenly. Vargas, I think she got upset at some point because this Japanese team had the bad habit of digging her spikes. So one time she spiked hard, they picked it up, she spiked harder and she found the floor. Then she went to the service line and she aced. So I love to see it about her. I find it hard to read her facial expressions because she's really joyful or she's really neutral. And when she's neutral, I think sometimes she's mad. I think in this case she was mad and annoyed, but it's good because it fuels her. We keep going, and at some point Japan have magically brought themselves up to 14-19, 15-20, and that's not a good place to be for Türkiye, especially when they're down 1 set. Luckily, Hande continues to defend really well. Vargas manages to get some block out. İlkin gets a block, and we're 21-22. Perfect place to be. İlkin goes to the service line. She gets an ace. Then Hande, and then Hande, and then a block, and we have an unbelievable comeback from down 15-20 to 25-22 for Türkiye. And we're all even at 1 set apiece. Set number 3 starts, this time with İlkin directly on the court. I think that was a correct choice from Santarelli. He saw that İlkin was really effective. İlkin has the ability of finding really interesting angles and finding the gap between the blockers, and she was able to do this most of the time today. So İlkin really earns her place on the court, starts out set 3 with 2 kills. We continue with Cansu's setting being really beautiful, and again with Vargas not shining the brightest today, until she did. It seems to me that sometimes she forgets that she's a generational player and she can do whatever she wants and she can get above everybody else and just drill a hole in the ground. Türkiye is up 13-8. 13-8 turns into 17-11 for Türkiye. Then Ishikawa gets onto the court and she scores 3 points in a row. She's able to find the middle of the court twice with the libero going for it and not being able to pick it up. Really impressive from Japan. They turned this game that had an 8-point lead for Türkiye into 22-22, 23-22, 24-22 for Japan. At this point, Japan could have easily gone up 2-1, but then Vargas gets a kill, Cansu goes back to the service line, and what happens? Japan makes a mistake. Wada was attacking from the back row, and she hit the line while jumping. So now suddenly, Japan doesn't have that cushy distance anymore. It's 24-24. It's really nice that the end of this set was taken over by the outside hitters again. Hande in the front row and Ilkin in the back. Türkiye manages to win 26-24. So Türkiye goes up 2-1. And actually the last set was just, well, not much. Türkiye dominated. Erdem basically gave a masterclass on slide attack. And that was it. Türkiye actually finished the competition unbeaten. The second match I would like to comment on is Dominican Republic against the Netherlands, and that's the very last match for both of these teams. They were in this interesting situation where the Netherlands had just beaten China relatively unexpectedly, and they had a chance of grabbing the second ticket to the Olympics. So did the Dominican Republic. They were in the second position. They could have gone first or third. It was a very intense match. Both teams brought their best game. The Dominican Republic just needed to win at least 2 sets, whereas the Netherlands needed a 3-1 or 3-0 win. And the first thing to say is that the hunger from the Dominican Republic was palpable. They really had the highest level of concentration, but they also have very talented players. The one that stood out the most to me was the libero Castillo, but also Peña Isabel and Martinez. Something that was really interesting from the Dominican Republic, their serve is incredible. They have serving specialists, a couple of them that come in and they just rip the ball and they get 2 aces in a row. With Iris, look at her face, look how concentrated she is. There was a little delay before her second serve. I was like, whoa, look at, like, she's barely opening her eyes. Like, she knows she needs to stay in the zone. Well, the Dominican Republic ends up taking the first set 25-20, with the Dutch having 12 errors out of 25. That's a lot of errors. They had another chance at winning 3 straight sets. The Netherlands this time ends up taking the set 25-20, so we're 1-1. I have to say, from the Dutch side, Plak was a great defender all throughout, but also Dalderop. She did a really good job in the back row. Plak again, hitting hard, getting through blocks, giving it all, but it was in the end the Dominican Republic who took the third set, being 2 sets ahead. They already had their ticket to Paris. The Dutch decided to go out with their head up. They won the 4th set, stretched it to 5, and eventually the Dominican Republic won 3-2. And I'm really glad to see the Dominican Republic at the Olympics next year. It was a very fun tournament to watch. I hope you all enjoyed as well, and I will see you soon in another video.